exciting time on School on Air. Also, welcome to Civic Education class. Today, we shall be looking at a very interesting topic that will interest you, and that is drug and drug abuse. What is drug? Drug is a natural or synthetic substance which, when injected into a living body, affects its functioning. Drug. Let me give you an analysis. Let me refer to something as an example. Petrol. If you are driving along the road and there's no more petrol in your car, what happens? The car will stop. The absence of petrol in that car has already affected the functioning of the car. But immediately you bring out your keg, pour petrol in the tank. With the presence of petrol in your tank again, it affects the functioning of the car again. The car will answer you and you move on. Generally speaking, drug is a natural or synthetic substance which, when injected into a living body, affects the functioning of that body. In other words, immediately there is the presence of drug in your body, it changes the functioning of the body. It alters the mechanism in the body. The body will respond to the drug that is injected inside the body. In pharmacology, that is pharmacy, we may define it as a chemical substance that is used to treat, cure, or prevent, or even diagnose diseases, or to be used to enhance physical or mental well-being. I am not a doctor, I'm not a pharmacist, I'm not a medical personnel, but at least I know one thing, that talking about drug, it is a substance that you use if you want to treat a disease, you want to cure a disease, you want to prevent it, or you want to diagnose a particular disease. It may also be used to enhance the well-being of the body, the functioning well, the proper functioning of the body. Now, let's define it broadly now. That is talking about pharmacy, talking about general definition. It is a substance that, when absorbed into the body of a living organism, it alters the normal body formation. Because that drug is a strange thing in the body. That drug has already introduced another thing into the body, depending on what you want the drug to do. But definitely, it cannot be there and not do anything. Drug must do something in the body, either positive or negative. And so, bearing in mind the underlisted definitions, we may say substances such as coffee, alcohol, nicotine, paracetamol, cocaine, cannabis, that is marijuana or Indian hemp, they are all drugs. Whatever you take and your body formation, your body functioning is altered, is a drug. Now, how do we dispense drugs? Forms of drug dispensing. The first one is, that is, over-the-counter medications. Just deciding on your own to just picking on a particular drug to be used for any ailment. The second one is the behind-the-counter medications. Behind-the-counter medication. Under this, you approach a qualified medical personnel. The person may be a pharmacist, but at least he or she is qualified. And so, he or she tells you what to use and you buy it. That is behind the counter medications. For example, I may approach a pharmaceutical store and ask to see the pharmacist in charge. And haven't told him or her what is wrong with me, he or she may say, okay, go and buy this, go and buy that. He or she will write it and I will buy it. That is behind the counter medication. But prescription only medicines, these are drugs that are prescribed by a medical doctor to be bought by patients. That is, after being examined, after being tested and diagnosed of a particular ailment, the medical doctor will write the drugs you are to take, the way and manner you are to take it. You will buy it and you will take the drugs. These are the three forms of drug dispensing. Number one, over-the-counter medications. Number two, behind-the-counter medications. And three, prescription only. We've talked about over-the-counter medications, that is, the drugs you go to buy yourself without anybody prescribing it for you. We also talk about behind-the-counter medications, which will be prescribed by a pharmacist, but definitely someone, a medical personnel, prescribed it for you. The last one is this prescription only medicine. That is the drugs you bought after being examined by a qualified medical doctor, after being examined and after being diagnosed of a particular ailment. The doctor will write what you need, the drugs you need to buy, the way and manner you are to take the drugs, and you will buy the drug. Now, ways of administering drugs. How do we administer drugs? We have talked about the meaning of drugs, that is chemical substance that you take and which alter body functioning. Chemical substances that are taken for curative, for preventive, and for diagnostic reason. We now want to look at ways of administering drugs. The first one, drugs can be administered through inhaling. This can be done through smoking. For example, it goes through your lungs. Example here is the cigarette that people smoke. It is through inhaling. Some smoke it to enhance their performance. Some take it so that they can be up and doing. They inhale it. Number two, injecting liquid drugs into the veins. Using injection and being injected into the veins. It goes directly into the bloodstream, through the veins into the blood streams. Number three, liquid or solid drugs are also taken orally and absorbed through the intestine. Just like the way we take food, drugs, it may be liquid or solid, are taken orally through the mouth, and it goes through the mouth into the intestine. That is being taken orally. Number four, drugs can be used topically as in cream or ointment. For the treatment of skin infection or generally body treatment, external treatment, we can take cream or ointment. It is taken topically, that is used externally, not internally. Number five, drug can be snorted into the nose. Those who take cocaine can snort it through their nose. Those who take heroin and other powdery substance snort it through their nose. And number 6, drugs are used through private parts to treat infections, mostly by women. Now, we want to look at drug abuse. Having known the meaning of drugs, having known how drugs are administered, what is drug abuse? Drug abuse means the indiscriminate use of drugs. Using drugs indiscriminately without the prescription of a medical personnel, without the prescription being prescribed by a pharmacist or a medical doctor. And so when we use drugs indiscriminately, it can have negative effect on the physiological and psychological state of the user, which may range from 1, poor visibility. When you take some drugs, such as cocaine, such as cigarette, such as heroin, such as Indian hemp, it affects your sight. It results in poor visibility. At times, when you see one person, it turns to 2 or 3. When you see a woman, it turns to man, because it is as a result of the presence of drugs in the system, which is having effect on the sight of the user. Number 2, it may also result in loss of weight when that person begins to lose weight. Number 3 is a state of hallucination, saying things, saying in incoherent words, seeing things that others don't see, seeing people that others don't see, discussing with unseen people, discussing issues with people that others don't see, that it is only the user that is seeing them. And number 4 is attempted suicide. Another negative effect it may have is making attempt at suicide, trying to take his or her life. Number 5 is rape, forcing another person to have carnal knowledge of her is as a result of a negative effect of drug. Also, stealing and others are all negative effects of drugs. Now, we want to look at types of drugs that can be abused. Types of drugs that can be abused. Number 1, people can abuse cocaine. Cocaine is a substance that forms part of effective drugs used by qualified medical personnel. But people have abused the use of cocaine. They use it for personal and selfish and for a negative reason. For example, they use it to stimulate their nervous system. It's either they snort it, they smoke it, or they inject it. People take cocaine to make them lively, to make them do things that ordinarily they can't do, to make them perform some actions that ordinarily they cannot perform. Another type of drug is alcohol. Even though it is illegal, but people abuse it. They take it to alter their mood. If they are not happy, they take it to make them happy. If they are feeling sad, there's an issue that is making them sad, they take alcohol to make them forget that issue, that problem, although temporarily. Examples are beer, various types, palm wine, and the local gin or refined spirit called ogogoro, and so on and so forth. The third one is nicotine. This is a substance that is found in cigarette. Number 4 is cannabis, commonly known as marijuana or Indian hemp. He said that they smoke it and inhale it into their lung. They also take it to make them lively, to make them do things that ordinarily they may not be able to do. Caffeine is another substance found in coffee or soda drinks and some other drinks like that. And it produces irregular heartbeat. The heart will be beating irregularly. It also produces insomnia, that is sleeplessness and anxiety.